Was Oobi was episode parents? Well, this videos watched the 29 Cherry 59 10. Was a watch of fucking viral. Oobi was episode parents of by Cherry 15 Okay.
I'm sure some of you have heard of or at least watched oobi. For those of you who don't know, oobi was a kid show that aired on Nick Jr. in the early to mid 2000s. It starred puppets, which were really just hands of some adults with ping pong balls for eyes, and it revolved around a particular oobi, a 4-year-old boy eager to know more about the world around him. Oobi wasn't alone in the show. It also starred other characters like his sister Uma, his best friend Kygo, and his grandfather Grampu. These four were the main stars of the show, each with different personalities. A big staple of the show is that the characters never spoke in full sentences. They spoke in the third person and barely used conjunctions and articles. Like instead of saying, "It's Uma's first day of school," they'd say, "Uma, school, first day." I used to like the show when I was a kid, and call me childish, I still occasionally watch an episode or two sometime nowadays. A strange thing I've always noticed in the show is that Ubi's parents are never shown in the series. His friend Kaio's parents are shown, but never Ubi's. I never found a real reason, but I might have uncovered something that might be why they were never shown. I was just browsing YouTube one day and happened upon a channel for Ubi, appropriately titled Ubi and Uma, and it seemed official, with high-quality recordings and full episodes and some shorts. I just finished watching an episode when I clicked on another episode entitled Parents. I just clicked on it out of pure nostalgia, but then I realized I didn't remember this episode. I shrugged it off thinking that I must have forgotten it. After all, there's only so much information the brain can store, so I continued. The episode started with a traditional hand swipe and Ubi's voice reading out a title. Ubi and Uma were in the living room, looking at a photo album. Occasionally they'd interact with the viewer, as per normal. This lasted for a minute until they came across a picture of themselves when they were younger, with their parents. At first, they didn't recognize them, so they called them Grampu, with the help of the viewer. Grampu came into the room after a few shouts, and they pointed him to the picture. Grampu then told them it was their answer of, "They're away," before leaving the room. Ubi and Uma then came up with an idea of making cards for their parents. They started to get supplies when the screen transitioned to an interview segment. The interview segment involved either the characters talking to children or the children answering a question posed by the characters beforehand. This interview segment involved Kako, the little boy named Scott. Cabo asked a question about his parents and Scott responded with stuff that they do together. And Kako made similar comments about his life. After the segment ended, it returned back to the living room, with Uma and Ubi making their cards. They greeted the viewer and went along saying how fun it was decorating the cards. Grampu came in and asked what they were doing and who they were for. After that explanation, Grampu was shocked but tried to hide it. Ubi and Uma were oblivious and they asked if when they were coming back, beginning to beg after 15 or so seconds. After being bombarded with this for a while, Grampu told them with a stern yet calm tone to be quiet. Grampu then told them why. I've written down the dialogue as fast as I could remember. Grampu. Ubi, Uma, parents, no here, no alive anymore. Ubi. But Grampu, why? Why Ubi, Uma, parents, no alive? Grampu. When Ubi, Uma, litter, Grampu babysit, one night Ubi, Uma, presents get in accident. No survive. Whole family sad. Ubi just toddler and Uma just baby. Grampu couldn't find words to explain. Grampu sorry. Ubi. Not Grandpa fault. Grampu. Ubi, Uma, okay? Oobi and Uma then began to hug Grandpoo. Uma, Oobi, Uma, okay. Oobi and Uma then proceeded to cry for a few seconds. It was really sad to see those normally bright and happy characters in such a depressing state. Knowing these characters for so long, I almost felt like crying myself.
Oggi fiori di merluzzo Findus. Che ansia cucinare per uno chef. Ma hai tutti i prodotti Findus? Io originali. Lo sai perché i fiori di merluzzo Findus?
And happy characters in such a depressing state. Knowing these characters for so long, I almost felt like crying myself. After that, Grandpoo asked to read Oobi's card, which read as follows. Dear Mom, Dad, Oobi and Uma misses you. Can't wait to see parents soon. Love, Oobi. Grandpoo tears up a bit and calls it lovely, his signature phrase. They all cry and hug again. And another interview segment comes up, but this time it was just children. Two children, one boy and one girl, talk about how they lost a parent or two for a bit. The boy Tyler talked about how he'd lost his father while he was in the army and knows he keeps his memories alive. And the girl, Shania, talked about how she lost both of her parents in a car accident and how she lives with her grandparents and how she copes. The last minutes of the episode consisted of the three looking over a photo album and reminiscing over memories. Grandpoo was telling the backstories to different photos to Uma and Oobi. At the end, the photo that was shown at the beginning was